Hello everybody, hello. This is Jessica Collins here from Forest Bathing Central. Welcome to my backyard. This is one of my favorite nature places just because it's right outside the door and we have this beautiful field and trees around us and everything. You can hear at night, you can hear all the crickets and grasshoppers and beetles and whatever frogs that are in there. And this is just one of my favorite places on earth. Let's talk today about intuition. That's a topic we're going to dig into a little bit today, or a lot of it. Let's think about what is intuition. Like, we all know what it is, but how do you explain it, right? It's pretty abstract, kind of an esoteric concept. And so I had to look it up, like the official definition and sort of work from there. And we're going to talk about how forest bathing really helps you hone your intuition. Like, one of the best ways to hone, or just being in nature itself, is the best way to hone your intuition. So let's talk about the definition. So intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without conscious reasoning. What the heck does that mean? Like, if you were trying to explain intuition to somebody, what exactly would you say? It's sort of like a gut feeling you get. It's a feeling you get, a gut feeling. It's an instinctive feeling versus like a rational feeling. You maybe feel a shift in energy. Something goes from comfortable to a little bit scary or apprehensive. It's a knowing without knowing why you know it, right? So have you ever had, think about the times where you've felt your intuition calling you. It could be you feel like somebody's watching you. You feel like somebody's following you. You pass someone on the street and you instantly feel chills down your spine. Or the opposite, you pass somebody on the street and you instantly feel like you need to connect with that person. Or maybe give them money. Have you ever felt that, where you feel compelled to hand money over to someone? Or you meet somebody and you know there's something else going on with them. There's something below the surface you just can't put your finger on, but you know there's something more going on, right? So intuition has a little bit to do with awareness of your surroundings, and awareness of your peripheral surroundings that you're not even conscious of. It has a little bit to do with being maybe woke. That's the best way I could describe it. Just somebody who's in tune with intuition. It has a little bit to do with emotional intelligence, a little bit of instinct, a little bit gut feelings. So it's kind of all those things together where you have a knowing, but you don't know why you know it. So let's talk about how forest bathing hones that intuition, because it really, really does. And I hope that over the course of your forest bathing journey that you notice just how much it affects your intuition. So one of the best ways to hone your intuition is to get still and quiet, right? Because you cannot hear over the noise of distraction, over the noises in your own head, over the noises in the world. You have to have that calm, relaxed, quiet to be able to access your intuition. And forest bathing obviously is one way to get really quiet and aware. The awareness is a big part of it too, aware of what's in your surroundings. Now, when you're forest bathing, you're going into the conscious awareness of what's going around you, because you're literally tapping into all five senses and your other senses. So your awareness is really, really strong when you start to practice that. And that's conscious awareness. Where intuition is unconscious, the more you build that conscious awareness, the more that unconscious awareness can work. Because say you're in the forest and you suddenly feel like you're being watched, or you suddenly feel unsafe. It could be because in your very peripheral vision, you just saw this little tiny change of energy, or a little tiny shadow, or something changed. Well, having that awareness so honed from tuning in, being quiet and relaxing, that's gonna really work on that unconscious process. sometimes those things just register without you being completely 100% aware. The other part of this is that forest bathing brings you into a natural environment. And, you know, our ancestors primarily were out of doors, right? So our instincts and how we were made over the course of centuries has to do with nature. Like, we are so, our heritage is so ingrained in nature that you can't really separate intuition and nature, because nature is what built these natural instincts, right? So you can't separate the two. Forest bathing really heightens your awareness and your instinctual responses. And another cool thing with forest bathing, the way that I like to do it and the way that I teach and promote to other people, I encourage journaling, because it allows you to really think about your experience and put it into words and really process the whole thing. If you don't write it down, if you just try to think it through, it's so ephemeral. Like, your thoughts are ephemeral. They just filter away. But if you write it down, it's so much more concrete. And it really, journaling really gives you practice in your gut feeling and capturing your gut feelings and like what comes to mind first, which really plays into intuition. That is what intuition is. It's sort of like that gut feeling, that what's first, what comes to mind first, what do you feel first? Why do you even want intuition? I'm sure you know why, but really let's talk about why. Why do you really, like, what are the benefits of intuition? So intuition is like a huge gift. It's a big gift that we get naturally when we hone it. So intuition can often help you like avoid trouble. Like we were talking about, the gut feeling that you're being watched, that you're unsafe, that somebody is more sinister than they appear on the surface. Those things can keep you safe. Those things can get you out of situations that you don't want to be in. It's also kind of a relief when you think about intuition, and like if you make gut decisions, if you get into the practice of that, it's kind of a relief knowing that your intuition is going to help you make the right decisions, because you know that intuition is guiding you. So that's like really kind of cool. Plus, it's comforting to know that you sometimes already have the answers inside of you. You already know the answers. And even if you don't consciously know what to do in a situation, you've got the unconscious answers. You've got the instinctual, intuitive answers. And that just can be such a relief, such a comfort knowing that you have that. And intuition can guide you with difficult decisions. It can guide you with, job decisions, choices in your life, big life choices, which house to buy. Like, your intuition can really guide you. If you go to your gut on a house decision, holy cow, right? You can really feel which one is home, which decision calls to you. It also helps with like making friends and knowing who you can trust. But you need to nurture it to be able to hear it, your intuition. So let's talk about kind of how to hone it a little more. We already talked about forest bathing, but what really about it? And what can you really do to hone your intuition? So again, anytime you slow down and connect into mind, body, and spirit, you can really help hone your intuition, because all those things work together to give you that feeling, that instinctive, unconscious feeling. Slowing down, tuning in, and then, of course, getting into that natural environment that allows instinct to take over. Another way is getting really, really clear on your values, consciously writing it down, reviewing them, going over them, honing them in, because the more focused your values, the easier it's going to know when something is off, just based on intuition. You're going to know when something is off. You're going to know when the decision comes in, and you know what to do based on your values. So you really got to get clear on what your values are. Then you really got to practice with your intuition. Pay attention to what your gut feeling is telling you to do. Try it out on small things and see what happens. And over time, that practice muscle is just going to get better and better. It's awesome, especially before you have a chance to rationalize. Let your gut feelings do the work for you first. Meditating is definitely a way to hone your intuition, which plays into forest bathing big time. The way you tune into senses when you do your invitations and you sit quietly, those are meditative. But even meditations that you do in your earbuds before bed or something, each one of those meditations, as you practice meditation, as you get better at it over time, it's really going to help you bring more cohesion to your conscious and unconscious thinking, and which plays right into intuition, if you know what I'm saying. Solitude is another part of intuition, so it really helps to get alone and to be introspective. Like, introspection and intuition go hand in hand. So solitude really helps you hone in, because when you're with another person, you're thinking about verbal and nonverbal communication. You're thinking about their needs. You're even unconsciously, you're maybe inhibited. But when you're in solitude and introspective and not worried about another person and their feelings, then you can really start to hear that intuition better. And I'm not saying like don't be around other people ever. I just mean when you're trying to hone your intuition, solitude really helps. And that's, a temporary solitude. Creativity is also another factor that goes hand in hand with intuition, because your creative mind is very closely, if not completely, attached to your intuitive mind. The more you can play around with creativity in any hobby, or we think of drawing, maybe writing, that kind of thing, but also any other hobby you have, gardening, anything. Just allowing your creativity, just playing with that, is gonna sharpen your intuition. And then of course we talked about journaling. I can't recommend journaling enough for intuition, because that helps you process every thought. It helps you go through why you think the way you do. Goes through your thoughts and feelings and emotions. Everything that has to do with intuition, you can really explore with a journal. So I just think journaling is one of the best ways to process your thoughts so that you can listen in to your gut. Which brings me to the final point, is to listen to your body, what your body is telling you. Sometimes your head can't quite tell you what your body can right away. For example, you know how some people say they'll have a craving for a certain, maybe, let's say a salty food. You have this strong craving. Now, some of that is due to the chemicals, and that's a whole nother conversation. But sometimes the reason why you have a craving for a mineral is because your body really needs it. And so practicing listening to that and sort of tuning into what your body needs is going to help you build your intuition. And so listening to your body is really going to help you improve your intuition, because the same force that tells you that you need a certain mineral is going to tell you when, okay, I unconsciously just heard a twig snap. I know there's somebody out here in the woods with me. Or the same process that tells you that you need another glass of water. You're thirsty, your body needs water. Maybe that's the one that tells you don't get into that car. It's the same sort of processes that are happening. So really listening to your body is going to help you get better at intuition. So I really, really hope that this talk about intuition helps you sort of understand the mechanism behind intuition a little bit, even though it's a very abstract concept. At least get a little better understanding about it, and how forest bathing really helps you be a way more intuitive person. This I have been thinking about for such a long time, and I just had to come on and finally get it out and kind of talk through it with you. So I'd love to hear any of your thoughts on intuition, how to hone it, how you've used it. maybe even how you understand it, just, to help us get a better understanding of it. So I've got a free little gift for you in the comments. I've got some free forest bathing invitations and a starter guide. If you've never tried it before, I really encourage you to try. Not just for intuition, but for so many reasons. It's so good for your health, so good for your mind and soul. Just makes you feel more alive, because feeling more alive is everything that I believe in and everything that I wish for you. So check out the comments below. Let's have a little discussion about intuition, and I will see you next time. All right, bye everybody.